Good evening, everyone. I'm going to call this meeting, the December 16, 2014 meeting back to order. We are back from executive session. Is there anything to report this evening? Mr. Barbier.
No, nothing to report.
Thank you. With that, we'll say the pledge to allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Harlow, we have approval of minutes up next.
Yes, the minutes of the regular meeting of November 18th, 2014.
I have seen those. There are no changes on my part.
Nor I.
All right.
Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Dieters?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Bitter?
Aye.
We're on to public safety reports.
Thank you. Okay, just information, the Coffee with a Cop will be held on Friday, December 19th at 9 a.m. at Tags Cafe. This obviously has been a very popular program for Chief Denny and the police department, and he is working with Chief Cook to announce next year's 12 events because it'll become Coffee with the Chiefs with both the fire chief and the police chief. We're excited about that. The police department attained their third reaccreditation through the Commission on Accreditation for Law Enforcement. At the most recent commission hearings on November 22nd, Chief Denny met before the commission and was awarded, the police department was awarded the gold standard reaccreditation. And the commission, based on what they hear and the information through the actual on-site, has the ability to enhance that accreditation award to a with excellence distinction if they feel that the department's demonstrated a commitment to the process and engages what they believe to be exemplary practices aimed at improving policing in their community. It is a rare honor. In 2011, the department was awarded that. It was one of only 12 in the state of Ohio, and the police department and Chief Denny received the with excellence distinction again in the 2014 reporting period, and we're definitely proud of the chief and his police department to be awarded this prestigious honor. So they just received their award in the mail. They'll be hanging that up along with the other ones here very soon, so we're very proud. Along those same lines, the fire department training section participated in their on-site review from the Ohio Department of Public Safety, the EMS division, last week, and that's an on-site review conducted every 3 years for the departments that conduct charter fire academies. Assessment team's exit interview I had an opportunity to participate in was extremely complimentary and offered that they were provided with a lot of takeaways that they're going to offer up to other charters across the state of Ohio. And just as an understanding, there's 890 plus communities in the state of Ohio. Colerain Township is one of 66 that offer a charter academy, and we're very proud again of their efforts. Along those same lines, the Township's Senior Community Center completed its audit from the Council on Aging. Ms. Tawana Moulter facilitated the audit with the assessors, and the findings were extremely positive. In fact, we had no negative findings. So I congratulate Ms. Moulter for her great job. And then we learned today that Colerain Police Department Detective Task Force Officer Joey Carter, who's a member of the United States Marshal Cincinnati Fugitive Apprehension Team, has been selected as the 2014 United States Marshal Cincinnati Fugitive Apprehension Team Officer of the Year. So we are proud of his efforts and extremely proud of that partnership that Joey Carter represents for Colerain and the U.S. Marshal's Office. So it was a good report. So we appreciate the opportunity to recognize that. Thank you.
Trustees.
Just want to extend my congratulations, Chief, on the reaccreditation with CALEA. That's a huge achievement. I know how much work goes into it, so congratulations to you and your whole staff.
I have nothing.
I just wanted to wish the township and our employees happy holidays, Merry Christmas. We've had a challenging year, but I think the organization here in our community is ready to start fresh next year, so Happy New Year as well.
With that, we are on to citizen address. Mr. Rowan, did you want to address the park fees now, sir?
Absolutely. This evening on the agenda, we will be recommending some action with regards to increase in fees associated with our parks. I know there are some members in the community here this evening that wants to address the board. I do want to go ahead and set the stage that we are revising our recommendation from what was presented at a meeting back in I believe it was November, our recommendation will be to leave the annual parking permit at $10 and not increase that to the proposed rate of $25. Director Malloy will be working with the Parks Division in an attempt to seek sponsorships of various fields to generate some alternative revenue that would allow us to keep that parking permit fee at $10. We are recommending a $5 daily pass, which is what we had in place 2 years ago. We did drop it this past year. So I wanted to at least address that. With regards to the recommendation for the rental rates for the baseball and soccer fields, we are standing by our recommendation that those will increase 50% over last year. And Ms. Reinhardt, I would also state that I know there are a number of individuals that will probably speak on the same issue this evening. Due to the length of the agenda, we do have a time issue in that Zoning Commission comes in a little before 7 o'clock. So I would recommend that we not let public participation go beyond 5 minutes till 6. That gives us about 20 minutes here to be able to hear from our residents so that they can have their thoughts heard.
Okay, thank you. First up, I have Warren Manis.
I am a resident of the township. I represent Cincinnati Colt 45s. It's a baseball club, and we're at our top limits of fees. We have people who are underemployed or unemployed that can't afford to pay their league fees, so they do work on the fields and things to pay their dues to the team so that we can afford to pay our fees to you. We're just like you are. We don't have an unlimited budget, don't have unlimited funds, just need to keep things the way they are. The more you cut people, the less work's going to get done. The less work gets done, the worse the quality of the product not being serviced is going to be. So if you continue to cut the people, raise your rates, you're going to lose people by not being able to afford simple recreation. According to livability.com, one of the most important ratings of the 99 top-rated cities that they rate is their recreation facilities and their recreation areas for the quality of life of their people. That's all there is. So just consider what you're doing. You're going to price yourself out of the market, price us out of a place to play and where we enjoy. Bring people in from Dayton, all over the state of Ohio and part of Kentucky. Bring teams in for the Labor Day weekend for the Yoke tournament that honors a firefighter that was killed leaving one baseball game to go play another. And these are firefighters who are coming in from California, New York, Illinois, all over the country to honor this guy. And to have them stand there and say that they don't appreciate being nickel and dimed by having to pay a parking to come and honor one of their fallen, really an insult to them. Want Colerain to be, that's okay. I think that it's needed. One thing that may need to be reconsidered is maybe the offer from Rumpke to allow their expansion. The other thing is the dreaded L word, old levy. I think we need to consider that. You need to consider that. I'm sure a lot of people feel the same way, that they don't want to pay this $10 and $25 fee to go park at a park. They're trying to go in and enjoy themselves for an hour or so. It's not feasible. It's not value for entertainment. Thank you.
Thank you. I have Taryn, is it Stelter?
Good evening. I agree with pretty much everything that he just said, but I wanted to put a different perspective on it and take two separate approach. One for the league fees, or for the field rental fees, and then the second being the parking pass fees. I just joined this community 3 years ago, and I have a 5-year-old and a, well, she'll soon to be 5-year-old and a 2-year-old. And I wasn't aware of all the great amenities that Colerain really had to offer until my child started to get involved in sports. My family is a very competitive family. We knew that we wanted our daughter and our son to get involved in T-ball. So being last year was the first year my daughter reached the age, that's when I found the parks in Colerain. I had no idea this Colerain Park down here even existed and how they had the fun Fridays with the music and the movie events. So once I became a member by joining and coaching, I also coached the league, I was like, wow, I can't believe all this stuff that's here. So then my family started to regularly go to the parks. Would have never done that if I was not involved or aware of the activities that were offered through CAA. So by keeping our fees low, we're able to get more individuals in the community to sign their children up. Some of the families that we do have that participate can barely afford to come. I had 3 kids on my team last year whose grandparents paid for them to play in the league because their parents were not able to pay for the cost. The cost is very reasonable. $40, I believe, is what we paid last year to join. Even at $40 for 8 weeks is tough for some families, and that's unfortunate. So I would really appreciate to make sure that we can keep getting those kids in who can have sports as their outlet, keeping them away from the negatives that could or may not exist in some of the areas. But I think it's in the best interest of the children to have the opportunity to participate and play, as well as for the families to get involved more actively in the child's life. So that addresses the the field fees for our organization. And I know, just as a bonus, being new into the league last year and only attending one of the meetings last year, I think what I heard and took away from the first meeting that I attended was that we actually had more T-ball leagues than the previous year. So each year we're kind of over-indexing versus the year ago. So even if we had 3 more teams sign up, that's 30 more kids, 30 more families that are coming to your fields. So there you're getting your parking fees for that day or whatever it may be. And then think about the grandparents and the multiple. My child has 4 different grandparents that are coming to watch them play at all times that are coming in to pay. So by getting more people to sign up due to the lower rate fees, you're going to get more people into the parks no matter what, which is going to, in return, give you additional money into the community. For the for the $5 parking fee for daily, okay, you're going to keep the $10 as what it was last year. Much appreciated that that's not being raised. But I still think $5, even for a daily visit, for when that grandparent or that aunt and uncle cousin comes to watch that one-time game, seems a little high considering our county parks. Hamilton County Park is a $10 annual and a $3 daily pass. It's like a township versus what the entire county can give me the amount of parks. I would wonder if that's a fair comparison and evaluation of prices that people might think twice about. That's it.
Thank you. I have Ken Lohr. Mr. Lohr?
Hi. My name's Ken Lohr. I live at 9919 Pebble Knoll Drive. And I have just 2 things. One, I really appreciate the fact that the decision to keep the fee for parking permits at the parks is going to remain at 10 instead of the 25 that was recommended. And I appreciate your support on that, Dennis. One other thing that I'd just like to add that I had in my email to all 3 trustees, that I really believe that our township is close to the end of the road in using reduction in employee costs to solve a revenue problem. And I think we're going to have to look at the revenue side instead of hammering on employee costs. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. George, is it Robbins?
My name's George. I'm involved with the Little Cards up at Grosbeck Field. We were working with Kevin before, and I just want to make sure our deal with Kevin's the same with you, since he ain't here no more. We restriped that parking lot up there. We dug out, paved that in front of the garage, and you guys waived their permits up there. You never had a parking permit up there. St. Anne's cuts through there. Nobody sits up there, and I'm here to represent the Little Cards to make sure it doesn't happen this year. Kevin agreed to pay half on that garage electric-wise 6 years ago when you guys come up there. We haven't received a penny. I can come next month with all the electric bills and settle that you know, if we have any disputes over it. I just want to make sure you don't enforce it up there at Groesbeck. The Little Cards, we've got 6 football teams up there and 6 cheerleading teams up there. We've been there since 1998. We travel to other fields. They charge $2 to get in. That's per 13 and over. That pays the referees for that day. So I can't be having somebody charge $7 at our field, $5 to park and $2 for the refs. They'd kick us out of the league. I'm just trying to figure out what you guys are trying to do to youth sports in Colerain Township, trying to raise the baseball fields and now messing with the football up there. Groesbeck sold that field to you guys for that property to you guys for $1, what, 6, 7 years ago? And then you guys put them baseball fields in. I've been working with Kevin Schweitzer. This is the first time I've met Jim. I'm just making sure it stays the way me and Kevin had it.
Well, I'd like to address that because I'm not aware of any arrangements. I will tell you, Mr. Schwartzoff is still here. I would suggest that you get with Public Safety Director Dan Malloy, get your contact information. We'll facilitate a meeting with Kevin. What I know is the policies that are established by the Board of Trustees. From my perspective, that's what we implement. I'm not aware of any kind of side deals that may have been made. So I'm going to need to have a conversation with Kevin to better understand what you're talking about.
That's fine. I mean, I can show you receipts of $1,800 for striping that big parking lot. We maintain the other parking lot. If I need to, I'll close them gates and put a lock on it. We pay for all that up there. We pay to have that grass cut up there. You guys don't maintain our field. You don't do nothing to our press box. You don't do nothing to our concession stand. I painted that garage and pod up there. We have. The Little Cards have.
Are you referring to township property or are you referring to private property?
It's Colerain Township's property right now, but we've got a lease. We signed it in 1998 for 25 years. We've still got 9 more years on that lease with an option to renew.
If you have a lease agreement that spells out the terms that you're speaking to this evening, then obviously that's an agreement that we'll honor. But once again, I don't know anything about this, so we'll need to get with Dan and Kevin, and I need to look at the lease and understand what that's all about.
Colerain Township should have a copy of that lease.
Okay. If you have a lease agreement, then I would suggest that you're probably going to be okay.
We signed it in 1998, so when you guys took over, what, 6 years ago? We signed it with Groesbeck Civic Association. It's the lease we signed. You guys took over 6 years ago. You guys should have got all that paperwork when you took over that property.
Okay, well, we'll get with Mr. Schwartzoff. Just make sure I have your contact information before you leave today.
No problem.
Thank you, sir. Next, I have Rick, is it Minking? Mindking? Am I butchering it? I apologize.
I'm with Colerain Athletic Association. Been around youth sports for probably 25, 30 years. For us to pay, we're paying $250 last year. The previous years with Colerain, we're putting up probably about $20,000 a year in field rental. For it to go up 50%, basically is going to wipe us out of the picture, making us go to other places to play baseball, play softball. You're going to take, your Colerain Township people, and they're going to start going elsewhere. I know there are already teams that are looking elsewhere. And you're talking, doubling $40,000 for a year with sports, and families can't afford it. Just need to reconsider what you're thinking about doing. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Got Rick Ralston.
My name's Rick Ralston. I actually am the president of Colerain Athletic Association. As you've heard, if you raise our rates 50%, it's going to take us from $19,000 a year for 4 months we use the field to double it, almost double it to $31,000. We can't pass that on to our parents. That's a fee that right now is competitive with everybody in the area. We try to up that fee even more. We're not going to have youth sports in Colerain Township. I can tell you that a lot of it, a lot of the youth kids, we're trying to keep them out of trouble by putting them in a recreational league, to keep them with their friends, try to keep them out of the trouble. Start liquidating youth sports, you're going to start, when they get older, you're going to see crime rate go up. I mean, they're not going to be involved in things that other kids are involved in. Don't offer it. We can't, with what it cost us to run the program, we're barely breaking even as it is. So if we raise it up $20 a kid, nobody's going to stay around. That's going to be really big to our organization. I've lived in Colerain Township all my life. I played for Colerain Athletic Association when I was a kid. 9 years ago, I came onto the board at Colerain Athletic Association. 3 years ago, I took over as president. We're trying to make it better for the kids. We've went from 15 teams when I started. Now we're at 43 teams. So we are growing. It's just trying to put our money where it needs to go is going to be a big thing for us. So that's really all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right. I cannot read this gentleman's last name. His first name is Dave. Okay. Sorry, I can't read your last name. And then I've got William Stegmuller.
I'm Bill Stegmuller, 6824 Kern. I've been a resident of Colerain Township for 48 years, and two of my kids, all their families live in Colerain Township, go to school here and all that. I just wanted to address the bonus program that I saw was suggested. I don't know the details of it, but before I retired, I had various management positions in industry. One thing I did was I trained and coached productivity improvement teams through actual projects, and we had goals as, what productivity we did, goals and so forth. And it was expected of people to make improvement suggestions. And the concept of paying people to make improvement suggestions to me is a very foreign concept if you have employees who are really interested in their jobs. And the places where I've seen that tried, what you end up with is, on paper you have all kinds of savings, but you actually pay out money to the people that made the suggestions and the savings don't come. I've seen that. And so I think it's a bad idea. I guess that's about it, really. Because I really feel strongly about this, that you're going in the wrong direction. To me, employees should make suggestions. They shouldn't have to be paid for it. When you get into that mode of operation where you're actually going to pay people for suggestions, then you get where my suggestion was better than his and so forth. And we had one vice president that one time said, we're going to get so efficient that we're going to go broke. And that's what can happen with these bonus programs. So that's it.
Thank you, sir. Either do you want? All right. Next, we have new business, the fire department.
Thank you. The first item on the agenda is the resolution honoring the service of Chief G. Bruce Smith. Would you like, as the board, to address the resolution?
What we discussed earlier is because we already read it and Bruce isn't here tonight, we read it at the thing the other day, was just to read the caption, and we'll pass it by the caption, since he's not here to take pictures tonight.
Okay, I'd ask the board to approve the resolution to honor the service of Fire Chief G. Bruce Smith through the naming of Colerain Township Fire Station 109, the G. Bruce Smith Fire Station.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Deener?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Bitter?
Aye.
Next item on the agenda is I'm going to ask for the board.
But I guess I came late and my name's back on the sign-up sheet. Am I too late to say anything? I thought the meeting was later.
Well, unfortunately, ma'am, tonight we have another meeting that's scheduled at 7 o'clock on a very large agenda that we need to get through tonight.
Well, and I thought that was the meeting I was supposed to speak at. 7
The zoning
o'clock
meeting,
about
that
the
starts at
zoning.
7 o'clock. That's at 7 o'clock.
Did I get to speak at that one?
If you're here for a zoning matter, yes, that's at 7 o'clock tonight. Yeah, that's what that signage
I
is.
was confused because some of the stuff said 5:30 and 6, and some said 7, and I'm sorry.
That's okay. No, this is the trustee meeting. The zoning thing is at 7. So yes, if that's what you're here to speak on, you can be heard at the zoning meeting at 7 o'clock.
Okay,
Yes,
thank you, I'm sorry.
that's okay.
I'll ask for the board's approval of the following employee promotions. The first is the approval of Assistant Chief Frank Cook to the position of Fire Chief. In summary, Chief Cook is a 30-year veteran of the Colerain Township Department of Fire EMS. Began his career in Colerain Township as a firefighter and emergency medical technician, and has since served in the ranks of lieutenant, captain, and battalion chief. Frank Cook was born and raised in Cincinnati and committed his lifetime to the fire service in Colerain Township. His educational achievements include an Associate of Science degree in Fire Science Technology, a Bachelor's of Science degree in Fire Safety and Engineering from the University of Cincinnati, and a Master's of Public Administration degree from Northern Kentucky University. His professional education includes a successful graduation from the National Fire Academy's 4-year Executive Fire Officer program. This accomplishment awarded Chief Cook the title of Executive Fire Officer. Chief Cook is also a graduate of the Carl Holmes Executive Development Institute at Dillard's University in New Orleans, Louisiana. And by means of Chief Cook's education, demonstration of leadership and management skills, as well as his professional contributions, he was conferred with the designation of Chief Fire Officer from the Commission on Professional Credentialing. I'm going to ask the board approve Chief Cook to replace Chief Bruce Smith as the fire chief starting January 1 of 2015 at a salary of $90,000 per year and a 1-year probation.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Dieters.
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt.
Aye.
Mr. Ritter.
Aye.
Thank you. I have asked the board to approve the following promotions within the fire service. Battalion Chief Alan Walls to Assistant Fire Chief, Firefighter Medic Christopher Prosser to Lieutenant, and part-time firefighter to career firefighter Dennis Brandon Cable, effective January 1, 2015.
So moved.
Second.
Dieters.
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt.
Aye.
Mr. Ritter.
Aye.
All right. Next, I ask the board approval for the EMS and fire inspection fee schedules for 2015.
So moved.
Second.
Dieters.
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt.
Aye.
Mr. Ritter.
Aye.
And finally, for the fire department, I ask for the board's approval of the Pleasant Run service contract. It's a renewal from the previous contract. Ask the board's approval.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Dieters.
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt.
Aye.
Mr. Ritter.
Aye. Chief, before you move on, I know we're really cognizant of the brevity tonight, but I think we'd be remiss without congratulating Chief Cook on his promotion. It's a huge achievement. We look forward to you being a part of our core leadership team, and I know you're going to be highly successful, so congratulations.
On behalf of the police department, I ask the board's approval of the following employee promotions. First is Sergeant Jennifer Sharp to the position of lieutenant, and Detective Justin Hustle to the position of sergeant. Both of those promotions are effective December 17th. Lieutenant Sharp's salary would be $80,000 per year with a 1-year probation. Ask for the board's approval.
So moved.
Second.
Dieters.
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt.
Aye.
Mr. Ritter.
Aye.
Next is ask the board's approval for the purchase of police cruisers as a replacement for 5 are replacements and 1 is an additional based on the passage of the levy in June. Ask for the board's approval.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Dieters.
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt.
Aye.
Mr. Ritter.
Aye.
Next is ask the board's approval for the purchase of a school safety canine to assist Chief Denny and the police department in the services necessary. This is a new tool, and we appreciate the opportunity to progress the department.
So moved.
Second.
Dieters.
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt.
Aye.
Mr. Ritter.
Aye.
Next, I ask the board's approval of a memorandum of understanding with both the full-time police Officers Union as well as the Full-Time Sergeants Union, effective immediately, regarding the subcontracting language in the current contract.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Dieters.
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt.
Aye.
Mr. Ritter.
Aye.
Here are the contracts for your signature here on the left.
And lastly, for the police department, ask the board's approval for a pay rate change for Ms. Deb Fales, effective December 21st, 2014.
So moved.
Second.
Peters.
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt.
Aye.
Mr. Ritter.
Aye.
Next, in the area of public services, ask for approval of the 2015 fees regarding the parks, community center, and public works.
Ms. Reinhardt, members of the board, before you ask for a motion, I'd just like to respond to the comments this evening. You know, it's a very difficult decision trying to come up with recommendations to balance the budget. And as we tried to make very clear with the importance of issue 30, if it went down, we were going to have to make some very difficult decisions with regards to aligning our budgets. And as much as I feel for those impacted by the increased fees, let's not forget the impact of the personnel that we've had to reduce to make our budget work. Mr. Swartzoff, who has been an outstanding director, who served this township very well, is losing his job March 31st. Miss Marie Springer, who served as our community center director, has lost her job. And I can go on and on. We've reduced our staff to a point where I don't feel we can do so any longer. Our seasonal workers that we had in the budget to cut our parks next year are not coming back. That's going to get backfilled with our existing full-time public works department because we don't have money to fix our roads, so they're going to be in the parks mowing. We face a very difficult time, and while I recognize the comments made this evening with regards to it may no longer be a budget problem, it's a revenue problem, I would like to remind our community that our police levy passed by 8 or 9 votes. Our JEDZ failed miserably, and I think to go back to our community at this point in time and ask them for more money to fund our parks or to fund our community or to fund our road department is probably ill-timed. I'm not sure the appetite exists for additional taxes. At the same time, I would welcome if there is a grassroots effort to promote such a concept to come forward and let's have that conversation and give our opportunity to our community to decide what they want for the future. Hamilton County Park District, I know, was mentioned with regards to their park fee maybe $3 a day versus $5. They also have a park levy. Green Township charges much more for their baseball fields than we do. It's unfortunate, and I know that's going to be a very difficult decision that you'll have to make this evening, but my job is to align our budget and to stay focused on the 2022 plan, and we can't do so if we continue to operate programs without a revenue stream.
Before we address the motion, I'll also thank everyone who's concerned about these increases for coming. You know, I played baseball in my local youth group growing up. It was an important part of my formation as a person, and I understand and I commend you for your service to our children. The hard part in government is making difficult choices. We have to prioritize what we do, and frankly, the law requires us to maintain our roads. That's in the law. It also requires us to protect our residents with our police and fire. And the parks, though on the list, have to be down the list. Our infrastructure is crumbling. We had a initiative that would have been little to no effect frankly, on our residents from a tax standpoint that failed. The board has to decide what's best for the community as a whole and honor its obligations to maintain the safety and the infrastructure in our community. It is a situation where the first thing that comes to mind is private investment in these types of efforts. I know that everybody's strapped for donations, et cetera, and corporations, but for me to ask the taxpayers of this community to bear that burden when there is opportunities in the private sector is a hard call. And I appreciate your concern for that. I do have to honor our mission as a board to be fiscally responsible and make the decisions based upon the priorities that are laid out, and we need to protect the residents and maintain our infrastructure first. Unfortunately, the community hasn't responded with a funding source that's going to help us do that. So this is something that I'm hoping is a temporary fix until we see where we are next year. But I think the board has the tough decision to make tonight to probably support these fee increases. I think we're done with the public comment. I mean, I heard what you said, and I appreciate your concern.
We maintained that property from 98 to 2000.
I understand. I think that's separate.
We're willing to maintain it again.
I think,
We're willing to cut it all and maintain that whole land.
and we can talk about some other agreement that could come up, and Mr. Rowan hinted at the possibility of some alternative to what's on paper here, but the board has to make a decision generally tonight. I'll move to approve the fee schedule.
Second?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
And last item on the public services agenda is the approval of pay rate and position changes. Pay rate change for Ms. Tawana Moulter to reflect the additional duties and responsibilities within the Public Services Department, and then recommend the approval of a position change for Mr. Paul Schwab from the Maintenance Worker 2 to Mechanic Step 5D. Ask for the board's approval.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Dieters?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
Thank you.
We're on to zoning, Mr. Mills.
Thank you. I have two personnel-related items for you this evening. I recommend the change in status for Julia Brodsky, who's our current land use planner, currently serving in a part-time capacity. Recommend the change in status to full-time at an annual salary of $48,500 effective January 14th, 2015. Also, I recommend a pay rate change for Rebecca Reno to $24.67 an hour effective December 21st, 2014, to reflect additional duties and responsibilities within the zoning department.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Dieters?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
Thank you. Secondly, I request two public hearings to be set for January 13th at the trustees meeting, one for a zone map amendment and one for a zoning text amendment.
January 13th, 2015?
Yes, sir.
I'll make the motion for that date.
Second.
Mr. Dieters?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
I recommend the approval of the 2015 planning and zoning fee schedule that's listed in your trustees packet.
So moved.
Second?
Mr. Dieters?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
Finally, I recommend the appointment of the following individuals to the Colerain Township Zoning Commission and BZA. First, Mr. Tom Westfall to the position of Zoning Commissioner. It's a 5-year term. Second, Mr. Mark Fearing to the position of Zoning Commissioner Alternate. It's a 2-year term. Third, I recommend the appointment of Al Grody to Zoning Commissioner Alternate position, a 2-year term. I recommend the appointment of Mr. Tom Reininger, member of the Board of Zoning Appeals, to a 5-year term, and Ms. Elise Pilson to the position of alternate member on the Board of Zoning Appeals, which is a 2-year term.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Mr. Dieters?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
Thank you.
Mr. Reinhardt, members of the board, my first item under administration is to recommend a change in salary for Dan Malloy at $100,000 a year effective 12/21/14 to reflect additional duties and responsibilities for assuming oversight of public services. Dan will now be responsible for all budgets and oversight of police, fire, public works, parks, and community center.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Mr. Dieters?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
The next item is appointment of a trustee to the OKI Board of Directors. Currently, the designee for the board is Ms. Reinhardt. I'm asking for this appointment this evening for their asking for that recommendation prior to our next meeting.
So moved?
Move to reappoint trustee Reinhardt. Second.
Mr. Dieters?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
The next item is a recommendation for 3 agreements for municipal advisory services, financial services and underwriter, placement agent, and bond legal services associated with the proposed tax incentive for the Kroger Marketplace.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Dieters?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
Next item is recommended approval of the 2015 board meeting dates.
So moved.
Second?
Mr. Dieters?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
Next item is approval of appropriations. Our first is the 2014 final appropriations in the amount of $31,108,353.53. And secondly, the temporary appropriations for 2015 in the amount of $27,786,933.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Barbie, are we two resolutions for these? That is two separate motions, or can we put it as one, then two resolutions?
You should actually move each resolution separately if you have two resolutions.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to approve 2014 final appropriations.
And second.
Mr. Peters?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
And then the 2015?
Yeah, make a motion to approve the 2015 temporary appropriations as specified by Mr. Rowan.
Second.
Mr. Peters?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
Our next item is approval of interfund transfers and advances. We have a transfer from the general fund to the zoning fund in the amount of $24,826, and from the general fund to the community center in the amount of $11,997. We also recommend an advance from the TIF Stone Creek Fund to the police fund in the amount of $350,000 to serve as cash flow until levy collections in the spring of 2015.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Peters?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
I'd like to recommend approval of our property casualty insurance renewal with Atarma in the amount of $239,178 effective 1/1/15. This does represent an increase of 9.5%. The increase is a result of increased exposures in vehicles, property values, and claims that have contributed to this increase.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Mr. Peters?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
The next item is to recommend approval to restructure the Financial Advisory Committee as authorized in Resolution 70-10 to an Administrative Advisory Committee. While the FAC will become an administrative committee, greater flexibility is provided in the adding or changing of membership. While the meetings will continue to be open to the public with minutes being maintained, the committee will not be subject to sunshine law and restrictions associated with maintaining quorum.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Peters?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
The next item is to recommend approval to authorize the administrator to execute agreements with Republic CSI for waste services and Porta-Clean for portalets for all properties owned by the Colerain Township Board of Trustees for a period not to exceed 12 months, contingent upon approval by legal counsel. The proposal from Republic CSI represents at least a 20% savings over current rates with Rumpke. Additional savings will be generated as a result of reducing the number of containers within the township facilities.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Peters?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
Next item is recommend approval of a loan extension for the Colerain CIC as authorized in Resolutions 28-14 and 13-14 to June 30, 2015. We anticipate closing on the remaining properties associated with John Rose redevelopment in early 2015, at which time the loan will be repaid to Colerain Township General Fund.
So moved.
Second.
Peters?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
The next item is the Employee Bonus Employee Wellness Program. And I just want to comment a couple things. It's important to recognize that the bonus program is only applicable to hourly employees. No salary employees, no members of the leadership team or administrative personnel would be subject to that bonus program. While I understand the concerns that were expressed this evening by the resident, I think it's important as we look to stretch our dollars with the 2022 vision that if we have employees that can be creative and innovative and they can bring about a savings that is documented and demonstrated, that a bonus program be considered. I would recommend that the employee bonus program and the wellness incentive be approved, but I would ask that it be approved on a one-year pilot basis, and then we'll reevaluate it at the end of 2015 to evaluate the impacts of the program.
I'm not insensitive to the concerns that were raised. I would just ask one additional request, and that is demonstrate to the board, for the first couple that are awarded, demonstrate to us what your scorecarding and evaluation technique is on how you're going to do that. The cost has to leave the appropriations in order for it to be a good savings. And so I'm just curious on what your rigor and discipline is going to be on that, and so we can demonstrate the cost leaving the building, because if it's not doing that, then he's right, it's just vapor savings.
Absolutely, and I will engage the leadership team in coming up with some sort of a scorecard. The conditions of the program does require it to be verifiable before the bonus is awarded, and it also requires that the bonus be approved by the Board of Trustees. So it's not something that we'll be giving out unless you approve, and we'll be presenting the scorecard and the process at the time that the grants would be
I would say the focus of this needs to be hard savings and not soft savings.
correct.
So in other words, if we demonstrate, time savings, but you're just increasing the productivity of the person, that's not really a savings. The cost has to leave the building.
I would agree.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Dieters?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
I'd like to recommend approval of resolution to donate property located on Sunlight Drive to the Colerain Township CIC, also noted as parcel number 510-0063-0159-00.
So moved.
Second.
Dieters?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
Next item is to recommend approval to authorize the administrator to enter into a contract with Genesis Mechanical Services for boiler replacement at 4200 Springdale Road at a cost not to exceed $45,000 contingent upon approval by legal counsel. The new boilers will be 95% efficient versus the existing boilers at 80%. The anticipated payback is based on a usage of 5 years. Life expectancy of the new boilers is 20 to 25 years.
So moved.
Second.
Sorry. Mr. Dieters?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
Next item is to recommend approval to authorize the administrator to waive rental fees for the Colerain Chamber of Commerce for the first 6 months of 2015 to allow their new executive director to get up and running and generate additional dues through the membership.
So moved.
Second.
Dieters?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
Next item is approval of rental rates for facility usage. This would exclude the senior and community center, which is governed under a different policy. These rates would include rental of Skyline Community Center as well as our professional development center in the basement of the government complex.
So moved.
Second.
Dieters?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
And my last item is to recommend approval to authorize the administrator to pursue options to sell Skyline Community Center and Park through the Colerain CIC. The appraised value of the facility and park is $350,000.
So moved.
Second.
Dieters?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
That concludes my report.
Ms. Harlow, I believe we're to you.
Okay. I will be very brief this evening. I'd just like to ask for your approval of payroll purchase orders and receipts.
So moved.
Second.
All right, that's all I have. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, everybody.
We didn't vote on that, Heather.
I'm so sorry. See, I'm trying to move this agenda along. Mr. Dieters?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
Then we have down on number 12 a public hearing.
Thank you. Okay, so we're gonna get down into the weeds on zoning here for a couple of minutes. We're gonna begin with a public hearing on a proposed map amendment, specifically affecting our riverfront districts. In some, currently the riverfront district boundary represents the historic FEMA floodplain lines. Those lines get changed as FEMA does studies to show that the floodplain is changing. So in essence, what we're doing here is making sure that our riverfront lines are lining up with the most current FEMA flood lines that are available. The Zoning Commission initiated this this map amendment in August. Regional Planning Commission recommended approval October 1st, and the Zoning Commission recommended approval August 21st. Just to walk you through what we're doing here, there are certain areas, mostly along the Great Miami River, some that will be added to the riverfront district, and that's shown with the red hatching on the map here. There are other areas that will be taken out of the riverfront district. Those are shown in the green hatching. One thing that the Zoning Commission has to look at is its conformance with the comprehensive plan. My analysis is that it is very much in keeping with the vision and goals of the comprehensive plan, where they talk about, particularly where they talk about, developing regulations to protect hillsides and floodplains, and also where it's discussed the flood-prone areas should be preserved as public, natural, or recreation areas so as to prevent property damage. As I mentioned, the Regional Planning Commission voted in favor of it. In conclusion, the map amendment that I'm proposing correctly identifies where the FEMA flood hazard areas are and aligns our land use and zoning rules with that. So my recommendation is approval of the proposed map amendment, and there should be a resolution to that effect. Great.
Move to open the public hearing.
Second?
Peters?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
I don't have a sign-in sheet for this. Did anybody? Okay, was there anyone here to speak on this specific issue tonight? Mr. Mason?
I just have one question. Were the property owners notified with this?
When there's a zone map amendment, my understanding is when there's a zone map amendment that affects more than 10 parcels, the way that this gets noticed is through notice in a public newspaper.
Can you show me where what changes may be made at the riverfront at the end of Day Road to, between Day and Skull Road on that riverfront?
Let's see here. Up by Heritage Park?
No.
No, south of there.
South of there.
Yeah.
Yep. Very little here. In fact, there is some property that is added to the riverfront district here, but
Okay.
there's just a touch that's taken out of the riverfront district here.
Where's Day Road at?
That would be
No,
Day Road.
that's Dunlap Road.
Oh, Dunlap, excuse me. I don't have it listed on this map, I'm sorry.
Day is the one after Dunlap. I'm looking at this
South?
other map you got here.
South?
Yes, south.
So are we still doesn't look like minor changes there.
No. No, and sorry.
That's all. I just, we were never, Southern Ohio Dog and Game owns a lot of river frontage here. We were never notified from the feds that it changed or whatever. It's important to us because various facilities are in there. And maybe like to meet with you sometime or something to see what
I'd be
it
happy
would
to
do.
do that. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and go ahead.
When you reference FEMA and the feds contacting you many times, and we see this with residential all the time, people are not aware that their property was out of the floodplain now it's in until they renew their flood insurance. And many times,
Yeah, that's true.
And they really, the feds don't have any obligation to notify these people individually, so.
We don't have anything right in there. We have some
Right.
things right on the edge, but there's a sort of a thing going on for the last many, many years right next door.
They certainly, they won't notify you individually, unfortunately, but many cases that does happen, and this is just reflecting what they're telling us is the floodplain.
Can you get us those maps?
Oh, yes.
Fed
absolutely.
maps?
Yep.
Thank you.
Certainly, yeah.
Anyone else? Is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Peters?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
You need a motion to approve the zoning amendments?
Yes.
I'll make the motion.
Second?
Peters?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
Here's the resolution.
Thank you. The second public hearing this evening will be on a text amendment. This is the part that gets down into the weeds. So what we're doing with this text amendment is adding 2 words to the zoning resolution. And the intention is to clarify the appropriate criteria to be used by our Board of Zoning Appeals when they're hearing area variance requests. I believe, my understanding is that statute identifies a certain test called unnecessary hardships, but case law has refined that over the years, and currently it's practical difficulties is the appropriate test to apply to area variances, and that's the test that we do apply to area variances, have applied since I've been here, but I just wanted to take this opportunity to clean up the text of our zoning resolution and make sure that it's very clear that this is the the test to use in this instance. So my recommendation is to make the addition of practical difficulties to section 3.3.2D, 4.4.2B, and 4.4.2D, so that it would read as it reads in the staff report. And I'll save you the effort.
Motion to open up a public hearing?
Second.
Is there anyone that wished to speak on this
I'm sorry,
tonight?
Mr. Dieters?
Oh, sorry.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
Is there anyone that wishes to speak up about this issue tonight? Is there a motion to close public hearing?
So moved.
Second?
Aye.
Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
My understanding, there's at this point additional need to go back into executive.
I'm sorry, can we vote on the resolution?
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I know, I'm so demanding.
Too many votes in one
I'll
thing.
move- I'll move to approve the text amendment.
Second?
Mr. Dieters?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
And with that, it's my understanding there's a need to go back into executive session tonight. Is that correct, Mr. Rowan and Mr. Barbier?
Yes, ma'am. Tonight will be to discuss the employment of public personnel and to do the administrative evaluation.
Motion to go into executive session?
Second.
Mr. Dieters?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
There will be no action after executive session. We'll adjourn in the lobby because the zoning commission meeting will be going on. The executive session will be held in the basement.
That is it. As we stated earlier, the Board of Zoning has a meeting at 7 o'clock.
Before we adjourn, Mr. Rowan, again, now that we have some extra time, our public safety chief positions are very significant, and we went through that so quickly tonight, especially with regards to Chief Bruce Smith. Is he going to be back here before us at a subsequent meeting to give him the proper recognition that I think he deserves in public session, and
Absolutely.
recognize his long tenure with our township and our fire department? I think back to that old phrasing, you've seen one fire chief, you've seen them all. That's kind of how we feel about Bruce around here, and I just want to make sure we give him the right send-off. So what is the plan there?
Absolutely. Well, Bruce is finishing 40 years in July. His retirement will be effective, I believe it's in July, late July, or late June? Okay, June 26th. And so Bruce will be working with Mr. Cook on a smooth transition to make that seamless. We recognized Chief Smith at the employee recognition luncheon a week ago Friday, or last Friday, a week ago Friday, I believe it was, and recognized him with a painting, and we plan to bring him either to a future trustee meeting or have an open house at Station 109 when we unveil the lettering and the naming of Station 109, the G. Bruce Smith Fire Station.
Excellent. That's what I
And
was
so we have the opportunity, and I'm guessing we'll probably do that sometime in warmer weather, and have an opportunity for the community to come in and pay their respects to Bruce after 40 years of service. I think he's deserving of that.
Indeed. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
No, we can't.
Oh, that's
You're in
right.
executive
Sorry.
session.
Yep. I stand corrected.
I'm sorry.